You're a new party, you've standing candidates all across the country. How can voters trust that your councils will be run properly?
Look how badly they're being run now. It'd be very hard to do worse.
The leader of Reform UK stated of this council on BBC television, they don't want to show us the books. We ask where the money has been spent. Can we see the credit card statements? We've found genuine, deliberate obstructionism.
I think Warwickshire is the worst example of obstructionism that we face. There are other councils where we're working reasonably well with the existing administration.
So you heard Nigel there. Clear and simple, Warwickshire is the worst council they've experienced for obstruction in order to implement their Doge gimmick.
What do you actually mean by that, obstructionism? What do you mean, the chief executive refusing
Well,
to...
you know, they don't want to show us the books. We ask, where's the money been spent? Can we see the credit card statements? And we find genuine, deliberate obstructionism.
Following a Freedom of Information request, which asked which Reform councillors have asked to view council financial accounts, books, records and credit card receipts, the response was no requests had been made for this information.
So basically, caught red-handed in a lie. How will George Finch, the 19-year-old Reform councillor in charge of Warwickshire County Council, react?
Will the leader and the portfolio holder now publicly dissociate themselves from this statement, this inflammatory and divisive statement from the leader of Reform UK, which yet again appears to have no basis in reality?
That question, just to clarify, by the leader of Reform UK, you're meaning Nigel Farage? Or you meaning, okay, fine. So to answer your question is that, yes, councillors across the country, not just in Warwickshire, have been speaking to officers. And when...
Right, I'm going to interrupt George for just a second and warn you that he's going to produce a word salad of waffle in order to not acknowledge that Nigel lied. You have been warned.
Questions have been asked. Some of us have felt, and across the country as well, because I speak to a lot of councillors, is that there has been some certain information that necessarily we've asked for that we haven't necessarily got, and then we've had to work forward to get. But at the moment in time, working with officers here, we've actually found a best way to move forward, especially with recalibrating Warwickshire. We work with officers to get that through, especially on a short time scale. But we got it through, we got it sorted. And I thank all the officers for making that happen. And yes, there has been hurdles, growing pains, like in every walk of life, going into a new place, new ideas. What we thought before we got in and what we do now is, yes, there are going to be clashing of heads, but we are working through that and working together to make sure there's a better deal for Warwickshire, and work with all the officers, and we thank them all for what they do and help us with. There are growing pains, there are clashes day one when you get into places, but you solve that and you work forward, because you have to realise, again, like I've said before, it's not about me, it's not about the other councillors, it's about the people out there that we're there to represent. So you do have to be professional in the way you work and make sure that, we have to make sure that the people out there, like children with SEND needs, homeschool, transport, adult social care, that all still has to run. So if there's disagreements, it's not the end of the world. People have to grow up and realise it's not about us, it's about the people out there.
Being professional means not giving blatantly misleading statements on the media about this specific council.
I don't think that it's been misleading at all. I think at the get-go there were, and we did feel that there was some obstructions, and but that's the point that I made before, is that happens. We've worked through that. We're actually working really well with officers to find out a better deal for Warwickshire, value for money, the recalibrating Warwickshire. Yes, growing pains happen. It's life. But we are working with officers and we're doing a really good job to make sure that we have a better deal for Warwickshire. And I think the obsession that you're making about headlines, that is exactly what they are, headlines, and that's not going to help the people on the ground, is it? But that's why we're moving forward. We're growing, we're learning, we're finding out more stuff. We're looking into the books to find out where there's been wasteful spending, if so, what we deem to be wasteful spending, especially net zero agendas and DEI. we believe that we can really, we're not at that luxury at the moment to be spending millions of pounds or hundreds of thousands of pounds on these things. We have to prioritise people with SEND needs, adult social care. They're the priorities that we have to put forward at the moment. So thank you for your question. Is there any more questions?
Click here for a bunch of rotten, dumb and bigoted reform councillors who haven't got a clue how to run a council.